Next gentleman I'd like to call up is also a pro 2A attorney. Two in the same room. He's on the board of firearms permit examiners. He's an advocate for gun owners. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Craig Fishbein. He's here.
There he is. There he goes.
Wow, there's a lot of people here. When I originally envisioned coming up here today, I wanted to pattern after somebody who has been doing something recently. I was going to have all the kids come up here, but, I'm sort of sick of people exploiting children, so. Less than a year ago, I stood up here and I told the audience at the Second Amendment rally that there's gun grabbers all around you, on both sides of the aisle, and don't go to sleep at all. That there are wolves at your door that are looking to take your guns at any cost. And I stand before you today and I tell you, I told you so. Over the past month, we have all heard ridiculous gun control proposals that are being made here in Connecticut. I keep reading quotes from people in power that say, we have to do something for the children. This logic, or lack thereof, reminds me of a story, actually. Last fall, as part of an outreach program, a high school student won an opportunity to play golf with a state senator and a state representative. The three of them met at a golf course on a bright, brisk October day. During their round, they caught up with the group ahead of them, which was playing particularly slowly. As they looked on, almost every shot that the group made went into the woods or water, and the players would just drop another ball and hit and miss continually. After watching this for close to 30 minutes, the state senator exclaimed, "What's with these people? I've never seen such horrible players on a golf course." The state representative spotted the approaching greenskeeper and asked him, "What's going on?" The greenskeeper replied, "Oh yes, that's a group of blind firefighters. They've lost their sight saving our clubhouse from a fire last year, so we always let them play for free, anytime." The three golfers fell silent for a moment. The state legislator said, "Oh dear, that's so sad. I shall propose a law that prohibits the use of fertilizers on golf courses, because surely the fire must have been caused by the fertilizers, and that'll prevent us from having any more blind firefighters." The state senator added boldly, "That's a good thought, but I'm going to propose a law that says that clubhouses have to be made out of brick so that they won't catch on fire, and then we won't have any blind firefighters." After listening to all this and pondering the situation, the high school student turned to the lawmakers and simply asked, "Why can't the blind firefighters just play golf at night?" You see, it's that kind of logical thinking in the wake of a tragedy that's not going on in the building behind me here. The evidence shows that your representatives are guilty of irrational, knee-jerk reactions, rather than reasoned thought and analysis. Here is some of the evidence. Let's compare and contrast two recent serious crimes. We have, first, July 23rd, 2007, the Cheshire home invasion. This heinous crime involved kidnapping, rape, torture, murder, and arson. Our legislature's reaction? Did they pass the castle doctrine to allow us to protect ourselves in our own home? No. Did they standardize the pistol permit process? No. What did they do? They repealed the death penalty. Saying to criminals and evil people that in the future, if you commit heinous crimes, and even if you're caught red-handed, and even if you admit that you did it, we're going to lessen the penalties that you can be charged with. Then on December 14, 2012, we have Newtown. Just think, given our legislature's recent actions, if Adam Lanza had survived, he would not be eligible for the death penalty. Stick that in your pipe and smoke on it. But he didn't survive, and in response to the tragedy, instead of conceding that evil people do evil things, our legislatures seized upon the opportunity to exploit the tragedy for their own anti-gun agenda. They don't have a perpetrator to vilify, so instead they turn to our guns, hypocritically. I say that because, as was stated earlier many times, none of the proposals that is currently being discussed would have prevented this tragedy. Connecticut already has some very harsh gun laws. Connecticut, as opposed to New York, has had an assault weapons ban for almost, well, it's just about 20 years now. One needs only to compare the legislature's reaction to the Cheshire home invasion to the Newtown tragedy to prove the anti-gun agenda. I find it quite ironic that on December 14, 2012, I was nowhere near Newtown, Connecticut. Yet as a result of that crime, the legislature feels it necessary to now tell me what guns and magazines I can possess. I find it quite ironic that during the last month, so many people in this country who have never purchased, owned, shot, or even held a gun are all of a sudden experts on all of the above. I find it quite ironic that guns are not allowed to come into the building behind me, and yet they have metal detectors. Does that mean that even they know, behind the protection of their police escorts and taxpayer-funded alarms and fences, that gun-free zones are just an invitation for evil people to do evil things? Stealing guns and breaking into schools and murdering people is already illegal. We all know how that worked out for the defenseless victims in that gun-free zone. You see, because gun control laws only prevent law-abiding people from protecting themselves. I've heard the word need an awful lot lately. What do you need this for? What do you need that for? I want to tell you what I don't need. I don't need a legislature that provides more rights to criminals than it does to victims by reducing the penalty. I don't need a legislature that bans firearms but then unnecessarily exempt law enforcement from these same restrictions. I don't need a legislature that, and here comes the bad news, is going to pass this stuff anyway. It doesn't matter. They are not going to listen to you, and I kid you not. They believe they have to do something. They don't care about logical ramifications. It is going to happen. Our legislature thinks that instead of reasoned thought and abiding Constitution, that they're passing laws is sort of like you work at Burger King and they are the customer. No matter the reasoning, you'll have to deal with it their way. Without any logic, you'll have to accept it their way. Without any justification, you'll have to live it their way. If I had it my way, all gun owners would be judged by the content of their character rather than the content of their gun safe. If I had it my way, in order to make us safer, gun-free zones would be outlawed across the land. And finally, if I had it my way, every single one of you would vote out of office every single member of every level of government that in any way, shape, or form attempts to reduce your ability to have a firearm, a magazine of your choosing, and ammunition. And with that, I thank you, and God bless America, because she surely needs it.